Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life that redefine everything. Moments that break you, shake you, and leave you questioning your very existence. What would you do if one day life takes away something you thought you couldn't live without? Your dreams, your strength, or even your ability to stand? I had that moment, and maybe you have too. But here's what I've learned. True strength is not in standing tall with your feet, it is in standing tall with your heart. The world tells us that success belongs to those who never fall. But I say success belongs to those who refuse to stay down. Pain does not destroy us, it awakens the fire within. And today, I am here to tell you that no matter what life takes from you, you still have the power to rise. Stay with me till the end, because today I will not just share a story, I will show you a way to turn your struggles into strength, a way to stand tall even when you can't walk. Let's begin. True strength is often misunderstood. Many believe it comes from physical power, from the ability to stand tall, run fast, or move freely. But strength has little to do with muscles and everything to do with the heart, the mind, and the spirit. The real test of strength is not in how high you can jump, but in how well you can rise after falling. It is not measured by the weight you can lift, but by the burdens you can carry without breaking. True strength is not found in the body, it is found in resilience. There are times when life will push you to the ground so hard that getting back up feels impossible. It will strip away everything familiar, leaving you with nothing but uncertainty. In those moments when your world collapses, you have a choice to surrender or to fight. Strength isn't choosing to fight, even when the odds are against you. It isn't standing tall, even when your legs can no longer support you. Adversity reveals who we truly are. Some people crumble under pressure, while others use it as a foundation to rebuild themselves. What makes the difference? It is not luck, talent, or even resources. It is resilience. The unwavering belief that no matter how hard life gets, you have the power to push through. The strongest people are not those who have never suffered, but those who have transformed their suffering into a source of power. Resilience is not something we are born with. It is something we build. It is forged in the fire of struggle, shaped by the storms we survive. It comes from making the choice every single day to keep moving forward despite the pain. To wake up and say, I will not let this define me. To refuse to let circumstances determine your worth. Pain and struggle do not make you weak. They give you an opportunity to grow stronger than ever before. Every hardship carries a lesson, every failure holds wisdom, and every challenge offers a new perspective. It is easy to feel defeated when things go wrong, to believe that suffering is a punishment. But suffering is not meant to destroy you, it is meant to awaken the strength you never knew you had. There are people who have lost everything, their health, their mobility, their dreams, and yet they rise. Not because they found an easy way out, but because they refuse to let their circumstances define their future. They chose to see beyond their pain, beyond their limitations. They understood that real power does not come from the body, but from the unbreakable spirit within. Your worth is not measured by what you can physically do. It is measured by your courage, your determination, and your will to keep going. Some of the most powerful people in the world are not those who have never faced difficulties, but those who have faced them and emerged stronger. They did not allow their struggles to turn them into victims. They used their struggles to become warriors. Strength is not about never feeling pain. It is about refusing to let pain control your life. It is about standing tall, even when you have every reason to fall apart. It is about taking every no the world gives you and turning it into a reason to say yes to yourself. It is about proving to yourself again and again that no matter what happens, you will not be defeated. People often admire those who seem invincible, who never show weakness. But the truth is, the strongest people are those who have faced their worst fears and still chose to move forward. They are the ones who cried, struggled, and broke down, but never gave up. They are the ones who, despite their wounds, kept fighting. Strength is a decision. It is waking up every morning and choosing not to give in to despair. It is looking at your challenges and saying, I will not let this break me. It is refusing to accept defeat, even when the whole world expects you to give up. It is understanding that every obstacle is an opportunity to prove just how strong you really are. Pain is often seen as something to be avoided, something that weakens and breaks us. But pain, when understood and embraced, has the power to transform. It is not a curse but a teacher, not a barrier but a bridge to something greater. The moments of suffering we endure are not there to destroy us, but to shape us into something stronger, something more resilient. The fire that burns also refines. The storm that rages also clears the way for new growth. Every person faces pain in some form. It may be physical pain, the kind that leaves you unable to move as you once did. It may be emotional pain, the kind that takes away your peace, leaving behind an emptiness that feels impossible to fill. It may be the pain of loss, when something or someone you love is taken away without warning. No matter what form it takes, pain is universal. It does not discriminate. It comes to everyone at some point, sometimes without reason, sometimes without warning. But pain does not have to be an enemy. Pain, when accepted and understood, can be turned into power. The most extraordinary people in history did not live without pain. They lived despite it. They faced unimaginable challenges, but instead of letting pain define them, they used it as a source of strength. They understood that pain carries lessons, that within every hardship lies an opportunity for growth. There is something about struggle that reveals who we truly are. It strips away everything superficial and forces us to face ourselves. In those moments, we have two choices: to let pain consume us or to let it empower us. Those who choose the latter discover something incredible. Pain is not a sign of weakness, but of transformation. It is in those darkest hours that strength is born. The body may break, but the spirit has no limits. The world may tell you that without physical strength, you are powerless. But true power does not come from the body. It comes from the mind, from the ability to rise even when every part of you wants to give up. Pain can paralyze, but it can also push you forward. It can make you bitter, or it can make you wiser. The choice is always yours. Some of the most inspiring people are not those who have never suffered, but those who have suffered deeply and still found the courage to keep going. They have taken their pain and turned it into something meaningful. They have transformed their struggles into a purpose, their hardships into a story that lights the way for others. They have understood that the wounds they carry do not make them weak, they make them warriors. Pain teaches us things we could never learn otherwise. It teaches us resilience, the ability to stand tall in the face of adversity. It teaches us empathy, the ability to understand and connect with others who suffer. It teaches us gratitude, the ability to appreciate life in a way we never did before. Without pain, we would never truly know the value of joy. Without struggle, we would never understand the depth of our own strength. There will be times when pain feels unbearable, when it seems like nothing good could ever come from it. But those are the moments when transformation is happening. Those are the moments when you are being shaped into something greater than you ever imagined. Pain forces us to grow in ways comfort never could. It pushes us beyond our limits, showing us that we are capable of more than we ever thought possible. Some people spend their lives running from pain, trying to escape it, trying to numb it. But those who face it head on, who embrace it instead of fearing it, discover something extraordinary. They find that pain is not an obstacle. It is a path. It is not the end, it is the beginning. It does not take away our strength, it reveals it. Pain changes people, but it is up to us to decide how it changes us. It can make us bitter, or it can make us better. It can break us, or it can build us. It can be the reason we give up, or it can be the reason we rise stronger than ever before. Life often does not go as planned. There are moments when everything we have built, everything we have dreamed of comes crashing down in an instant. In those moments, it is easy to feel powerless, to believe that we have lost control over our own destiny. But the truth is, while we may not always control what happens to us, we always have control over how we respond. The power of choice remains in our hands, no matter how difficult the circumstance. There are people who have faced unimaginable hardships and yet have risen above them, not because life was kind to them, but because they refused to be defined by their struggles. They made a conscious decision to turn their pain into purpose, to turn their obstacles into opportunities. They understood that while suffering is inevitable, staying broken is a choice. They refuse to surrender to circumstances, choosing instead to rewrite their own story. It is not the situation itself that determines our future, but the way we perceive and react to it. Two people can go through the same hardship, yet one may emerge stronger while the other remains stuck in despair. The difference is not in what happened, but in the mindset they chose to adopt. Our perspective shapes our reality. If we see ourselves as victims, we become prisoners of our pain. But if we see ourselves as survivors, we transform our struggles into stepping stones toward growth. Every challenge, every setback, and every heartbreak carries within it an opportunity for transformation. The question is not whether life will test us, but how we will rise when it does. The strongest people are not those who have never fallen, but those who have fallen and refused to stay down. They have faced rejection, failure, and loss, but they did not let those experiences define their worth. Instead, they used them as fuel to become stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever before. Growth does not happen in comfort. It happens in the moments that push us beyond what we thought we were capable of. It happens when we are forced to confront our fears, when we are left with no choice but to either break or rise. It is in those moments of struggle that we truly discover who we are. We learn that we are far more powerful than we ever imagined, that within us lies an unshakable strength waiting to be awakened. Many people spend their lives waiting for circumstances to change, believing that happiness and success will come once the pain is gone. But waiting does not change anything. What changes things is action, the decision to rise even when everything feels like it is falling apart, the decision to move forward even when the road is uncertain. Strength is not about never feeling afraid. It is about moving forward despite the fear. It is about refusing to let circumstances dictate our lives. There are times when life will feel unfair, when it will seem as if the challenges we face are too heavy to bear. In those moments, it is natural to ask, why me? But the real question should be, what now? Because dwelling on the unfairness of life does not change anything. What changes things is deciding that no matter what has happened, we will not let it define us. We will not let it steal our hope, our dreams, or our purpose. Some of the most incredible people in history did not succeed because they had an easy life. They succeeded because they faced hardship and still refused to give up. They turned their pain into a mission, their setbacks into comebacks. They understood that every failure is not an end, but a lesson. Every struggle is not a punishment, but an opportunity to grow. They made a choice to stand tall, even when the world expected them to fall. The human spirit is capable of incredible resilience. It has the power to endure pain, to rise from the ashes, and to create something beautiful from even the darkest moments. But that resilience is not something we are simply given. It is something we must choose to embrace, something we must fight for every single day. It is in the small choices we make, the choice to hope instead of despair, the choice to move forward instead of giving up, the choice to see possible instead of limitation. No matter what happens, no matter how many times life knocks us down, we always have the power to rise. It may not be easy, and it may not be quick, but every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. Every moment of courage, every refusal to surrender is a testament to the strength that lies within us. And when we choose to rise, we do not just change our own lives, we inspire others to do the same. Fear is one of the most powerful forces that shape our lives. It whispers in our ears, telling us we are not strong enough, not capable enough, not worthy enough. It convinces us to stay where we are, to avoid taking risks, to never step beyond the walls of our comfort zone. Fear has the power to paralyze, to hold us back from the life we are meant to live. But fear is also a liar. It is a shadow that grows only when we let it. The moment we face it, the moment we step toward it instead of away from it, we realize that fear was never as powerful as we believed. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every success story begins with a moment of fear. The difference between those who live their dreams and those who remain stuck is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. Fear will always be present, but it does not have to control us. It is not a stop sign, it is a challenge, a test of how much we are willing to push past the limits we have placed on ourselves. There are times when fear disguises itself as logic, as practicality. It tells us that we are just being realistic, that we are avoiding failure, that we are staying safe. But safety is an illusion when it keeps us from growing. The greatest risks in life are not the ones we take, but the ones we never take. Regret does not come from failure, it comes from never trying. It comes from looking back and wondering what could have been if only we had been brave enough to take the first step. Fear feeds on our doubts, on the moments when we question whether we are good enough. It reminds us of our past failures, of the times we fell, of the mistakes we made. But what fear does not tell us is that every failure was a lesson, that every mistake was a step forward, that every fall was an opportunity to rise stronger. The only real failure is allowing fear to keep us from trying. The most successful people in the world did not get there because they never failed. They got there because they failed and kept going. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to keep moving forward despite it. It is standing up when everything in us wants to stay down. It is speaking when our voice shakes, walking when our legs tremble, daring to dream when the world tells us to be practical. Courage is not something we are born with. It is something we build. It is a muscle that grows stronger every time we use it, every time we refuse to let fear decide our future. The moment we take that first step, fear begins to lose its power. The things that once seemed impossible suddenly become achievable. The limits we thought we had begin to fade. Fear does not go away overnight, but with every action it weakens. With every challenge faced, with every risk taken, we prove to ourselves that we are stronger than we ever imagined. And the more we push through fear, the more we realize that we are capable of more than we ever believed. One of the greatest tragedies in life is watching people with incredible potential hold themselves back because of fear. They have dreams, they have ideas, they have the ability to create, to inspire, to change the world, but they let fear convince them that they are not ready. They wait for the perfect moment, for the perfect conditions, for the fear to disappear. But the perfect moment does not exist. There will never be a time when fear is completely gone. There will only be the decision to act anyway. Fear will always be there, whispering doubts, reminding us of what could go wrong. But we have a choice. We can listen to fear, or we can listen to the voice inside us that says we were made for more. We can choose to let fear define our limits, or we can choose to break through them. We can choose to live in the shadows, or we can choose to step into the light. The decision is ours, and it is a decision we must make every single day. The most inspiring people are not those who never felt fear, but those who felt it and refused to let it stop them. They climbed mountains despite their doubts. They stood up despite their fears. They took risks when failure was a possibility. And in doing so, they discovered something extraordinary. Not just success, but a life fully lived. A life where fear is no longer a master, but a conquered enemy. A life where dreams are not just imagined, but pursued with relentless determination. A life where every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory against the force that once tried to hold them back. Pain is a universal experience. It does not discriminate based on age, status, or background. At some point in life, we all face pain, whether it is physical, emotional, or mental. Pain can come in many forms: the loss of a loved one, the betrayal of a friend, the failure of a dream, or the sudden change of circumstances that leaves us feeling powerless. When pain strikes, it is easy to believe that we are alone in our suffering, that no one else can understand what we are going through. But pain is not meant to isolate us. It is meant to transform us. Pain, though unwelcome, is one of the greatest teachers in life. It has the power to break us, but it also has the power to build us into something stronger, something wiser, something unshakable. Every scar we carry tells a story, not of weakness, but of survival. It reminds us that we have endured, that we have faced darkness and still found our way forward. Pain is not an enemy. It is a force that reveals the depth of our strength. It strips away the illusions, the comforts, and the distractions, leaving us face to face with our truest selves. Many people see pain as a punishment, as something to be avoided at all costs. But pain is not the end of the road. It is the beginning of transformation. The people who rise above their pain do not do so because they were never broken. They rise because they refuse to let their pain define them. They refuse to stay in the darkness. They made a choice to turn their suffering into strength, that they understood that while pain is inevitable, remaining in suffering is a choice. Growth does not happen in ease and comfort. It happens in the fire of struggle, in the moments when we are pushed beyond what we thought we could handle. It is in those moments that we discover what we are truly made of. We learn that we are more resilient than we believed, that we have the power to endure and emerge stronger than before. Pain tests our limits, but it also expands them. It forces us to dig deep, to find new sources of courage, to develop an inner strength that cannot be shaken by the storms of life. Some of the most extraordinary individuals in history did not rise to greatness because they had an easy path. They rose because they faced unimaginable pain and chose to use it as fuel. They turned their heartbreaks into breakthroughs, their wounds into wisdom. They chose to believe that even in their suffering, there was purpose. They refused to let their pain be wasted. Instead, they used it to build something greater, not just for themselves, but for others. Pain gives us a choice. We can allow it to make us bitter, or we can allow it to make us better. We can let it close our hearts, or we can let it open them wider than ever before. We can use it as an excuse to give up, or we can use it as motivation to rise. The way we respond to pain determines the direction of our lives. If we let it consume us, we remain trapped in suffering. But if we face it, embrace it, and learn from it, we emerge with a strength that nothing can take away. Pain teaches us empathy. When we have suffered, we understand the suffering of others. We become more compassionate, more understanding, more willing to extend a hand to those who are struggling. The deepest connections are formed not through shared success, but through shared struggle. When we have walked through pain, we can look into the eyes of another hurting soul and say, I understand, I see you, you are not alone. And in that moment, pain becomes a bridge, a connection that brings healing not just to ourselves, but to others. We live in a world that often tells us to hide our pain, to put on a brave face, to pretend that everything is fine. But true strength is not in pretending. It is in acknowledging our pain, embracing it, and allowing it to shape us into something greater. There is nothing weak about feeling hurt, about struggling, about facing moments of doubt and despair. Strength is not the absence of pain. It is the ability to keep going despite it. It is the decision to rise even when everything inside us wants to give up. Pain is not an enemy. It is a force of transformation. It strips away the unnecessary. It shatters illusions. It forces us to confront who we truly are. It is in those moments of pain that we have the opportunity to rebuild ourselves, not as we were, but as something stronger, wiser, and more resilient. When we stop seeing pain as something to fear and start seeing it as a teacher, we open ourselves to growth that we never thought possible. We begin to see that even in our darkest moments, there is a light waiting to be found. And that light is not outside of us. It is within us, waiting for us to recognize it. Resilience is not something we are born with. It is something we build. It is forged in the fires of adversity, shaped by the storms of life, and strengthened every time we choose to rise after a fall. Resilience is not about avoiding pain. It is about embracing it, learning from it, and using it as a stepping stone to something greater. It is about refusing to let circumstances define us and choosing instead to define ourselves by how we respond to those circumstances. Life is unpredictable. One moment everything seems perfect, and the next everything crumbles. It can feel as if the ground beneath us has disappeared, leaving us in free fall, struggling to find something to hold on to. In those moments, resilience is what keeps us going. It is the quiet voice inside us that whispers, you have been here before and you survived. You will survive this too. It is the inner strength that refuses to let pain be the final chapter of our story. Resilience is not about never falling. It is about always getting back up. It is about refusing to be defined by our struggles, our failures, or our losses. It is about recognizing that no matter how many times life knocks us down, we still have the power to rise. The strongest people are not those who have never suffered, but those who have faced suffering head-on and emerged with a heart that is unbreakable. The world is full of stories of people who refused to be defeated. They faced unimaginable hardships, losses that would have broken most, yet they kept moving forward. They did not allow their pain to make them bitter. Instead, they used it to make themselves better. They understood that every struggle carries within it the seed of growth, that every setback is an opportunity to become stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. Resilience is not built in moments of ease. It is built in the moments when we are tested, when we feel like we cannot go on, but we do anyway. It is in the moments when we are tired, broken, and full of doubt, yet we take one more step forward. Each time we choose not to give up, we strengthen the foundation of our resilience. Every challenge we overcome becomes proof that we are stronger than we thought, that we are capable of withstanding more than we ever believed possible. It is easy to look at others and believe they have had an easier path. We compare our struggles to their victories, our failures to their successes, never seeing the battles they fought behind closed doors. But the truth is, no one is exempt from pain. No one walks through life without scars. The difference lies in how we choose to see those scars, not as marks of defeat, but as symbols of survival. They are reminders that we have faced the darkness and found our way back to the light. Resilience is also about perspective. When we shift our mindset from why is this happening to me to what can I learn from this, we reclaim our power. Instead of being victims of our circumstances, we become authors of our own story. We begin to see challenges not as roadblocks, but as opportunities for growth. We understand that even in the most difficult moments, there is something valuable to be gained. The road to resilience is not an easy one. It requires patience, courage, and unwavering determination. It requires us to let go of self-pity and replace it with self-belief. It demands that we stop waiting for life to be easy and instead become strong enough to handle whatever comes our way. It is a journey of self-discovery, of learning just how powerful we truly are. There will always be moments when we feel like giving up, when the weight of our struggles feels too heavy to bear. But those are the moments that define us. They are the moments when we have a choice to stay down or to rise again. And every time we choose to rise, we prove to ourselves that we are not weak, that we are not broken, that we are capable of overcoming anything. Resilience is not about being fearless. It is about facing fear and pushing through it. It is about standing tall even when everything around us is falling apart. It is about finding hope in the darkest of times and believing that even the deepest wounds can heal. It is about understanding that we are not the sum of our struggles, but the strength we find in overcoming them.